Welcome to Breakfast Food, the weekly comedy podcast with feel-good stories, funny anecdotes. No! Okay. Woo! Welcome to Breakfast Food, the weekly comedy podcast with feel-good stories, funny anecdotes, and advice you never even knew you wanted. From me, Cara McKinley.
And me, Annabel Logan.
And we're in the same room!
This is a first. A first forever. We've only ever known each other through Zoom.
We've never met in person before. No, that's a lie, a damn dirty lie.
Damn lie.
But we've never recorded in the same room together.
I know.
So this is new and fun and exciting and scary.
It is. Do you know what? Like, we're on episode 16, and we've had a couple of weeks where we've not recorded. So this means we've been doing this podcast for at least 18 weeks.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And this is the first time we've been in the same room to do it. We started in cupboards.
Really did. That was death.
You started on the floor of a cupboard with no lights in it.
Yeah. And unable to breathe, sweating.
Yeah.
Got cramped.
Balancing everything on your knees.
Yeah.
And now look at us, we're at a dining room table.
Yes, there's a plant.
Yeah.
There's light.
Oh yeah, a window. Great, good stuff all round, really.
It's great.
I can see Settlers of Catan in the corner.
And do you know what? It's a German version of Settlers of Catan.
Oh.
So it makes it even more intense.
Yeah. What's sheep in German?
Schaf.
Schaf.
Yeah.
How would I say give me your sheep?
You would say geben mir der Schaf. I don't know if it's der die das. It's very confusing.
Okay.
I could be completely wrong, but that's what I'm going with.
I don't know regardless, so it doesn't matter.
Geben mir der die das Schaf. Thanks.
Very well done. How have you been? How has this week been for you?
Oh my goodness. I have had a crazy week of work. I recently went up my hours at work, and my only other team member has left to do a PhD, which is amazing. Congrats, Rachel.
Congrats, Rachel, if you're listening.
Yeah, but it means that I have now all the work, and it's been crazy, but good. I'm happy. I've had a good rest today. I feel sprightly, and I've got my joie
de vie.
Joie de vie.
Joie de vache.
I was like, joie de vivre.
Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce it.
Me neither.
I've seen it written down and I'm like, that's not it.
Joie de vie. How's your week?
My week's been... Every single time you ask me, I forget everything that's happened in my life.
Yeah.
What have I even done this week? My bike came. hence why I'm here.
I know.
I've cycled all the way to your house, over the hills and far away. My bike came. Gosh, what else happened? I genuinely can't remember. I've been in the house a lot.
Yeah.
That's it.
You've been making some animations?
I've been making some animations. Yeah, get ready for that, podcast listeners. I've been making some animations of my favourite chunks of podcast, and they will happen at some point.
So excited.
I underestimated how long it takes to make an animation. But I'm doing my darndest, and it's actually really fun.
Yay.
So I'll get there at some point. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's been my whole week. Broccoli has not thrown up anywhere.
Super.
And that's a plus.
That is. Good job, Brock.
Well done, Brock. Good guy.
Yeah, good.
So shall we breakfast bugle it?
Yes.
Let's begin the breakfast bugle. We, as I'm sure you can imagine, because we're recording in the first room for the first time, it might feel a little bit different, but we are going to figure it out.
We are.
So my breakfast bugle that I brought this week is very timely for everything that's going on, and it's about masks. Face masks, face coverings in general for the pandemic, and just sort of the unholy reaction that there has been. It comes to me because I read the title of a post that says, "Bus passenger told he cannot wear live snake as face mask."
But why?
Yeah, why not? It's a constrictor.
Oh, yeah. It's extra safe.
Yes, I'll be totally... I can't breathe with this snake around me anyway, so it'll be fine. I've seen so many on on Reddit for the Quit Your Bullshit Reddit post.
Okay.
There's been so many of people being like, I went into Target with no mask and they tried to kick me out and I threw the Declaration of Independence at them and everyone else ripped their masks off their face and clapped.
Oh my... You know what? I heard one of that just the other day of a guy in Disney doing that.
Oh.
Some complete douchebag was in Disney and he tried to incite... like almost not a riot, but he tried to incite
a riot. Come on, Mickey.
Yeah, he's like just all rolling around the ground. But he tried to incite everyone in the park to also take off their masks, and he had quoted badly a Bug's Life quote. Apparently,
what?
He was trying to be Hopper from Bug's Life.
What? And Hopper's the bad guy.
Yeah. And it was like not even the correct quote. What a dumbass!
Oh my god! If you're gonna be anyone from Bugs Life, you don't want to be Hopper. You know what? I know the bit he was quoted. I've not read it, but for sure, it's gonna be the bit where they are in this little straw hat having a little break, and they've got these seeds. Do you remember?
Oh,
Hopper
vaguely.
throws one seed, and he's like, "Did that hurt?" And they're like, "No." And he's like, "Did that hurt?" And they're like, "No." And then he like throws all like. Unpelts all the seeds and he's like, did that hurt? When loads of seeds do something, it hurts. And that's essentially
that would have for sure been
that.
Cool.
Yeah.
But he got like a bit of paper basically banning him for life from all Disney parks and attractions.
He got a restraining order from the whole of Disney.
Yeah. Regret.
Wow. Yeah,
He'll
jeez.
feel so sad about that. And every time he watches a Disney film, he'll probably cry.
Yeah, was it worth it?
Was it worth it?
I watched a Disney film the other night and
Did
cried
you?
a whole bunch.
Which one did you watch?
Inside Out.
Oh!
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that gets me going.
Hannah does not find it sad.
What?
Yeah, she was like, I think it's because it's one of those ones where she was told by people like, oh, it'll make you cry.
Okay.
And she was like, okay, and then every now and again she'd be like, is this the bit I'm supposed to cry at?
Oh no.
But then she just, I don't know, it didn't hurt her the same. Like we were literally watching it. She came through halfway through me watching it, and she was like, oh, just keep watching it. And I was like, okay. And there was like maybe 2 or 3 different times that she'd be like, is this the bit that I'm supposed to be crying at? And I'd be like, I don't know, like maybe. It's probably not that sad. But I'd be like welling up next to her and trying to make it seem like it wasn't affecting me that bad.
Oh, I'm the same. Christian's not a crier for films, but I cry the majority of things.
Yep.
And I get to the point where I'm trying to contain it in that it'll just burst out of me. Like I'll just be like
I had a bit like that for sure. Well, I had a bit like that the other. So usually I cry at cartoon. If I'm going to cry at something, it will be cartoons.
Yeah, me too.
Because I connect so much to cartoons for some reason. But we've recently been watching Pose. Have you seen Pose?
I've only watched the first 2 episodes.
So we're only 3 episodes in because I'll watch an episode, love it, and then be like, let me take a little second to like gear myself up for new things anxiety. Little hint into what we're going to talk about later. New things anxiety makes me not want to watch the next one, but then it's really good. And we were watching it, and she warned me. She was like, just this bit's sad. And I was like, okay. And then I was like doing okay, and then I just went, oh no, and just started bawling. Oh
yes, I know. I'm very, very similar in that way. And yeah, I can't remember what Inside Out bit I think I just cried generally for most of Inside Out.
Spoilers ahead. I cried when Bing Bong got forgotten.
Oh jeez. Okay, no, that was a big one for me. Yeah, couldn't contain that one.
Oh my god, I cried when she got on the bus.
Yeah.
So I'm so sorry for anyone who's not seen Inside Out. It's the bit, because for me, I found it really, I connected to it so much because I felt like I was watching a girl like come to terms with depression. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like a young, 11-year-old girl like realizing that like these things happen and you can have depression at that age, and other people around her expecting her to stay happy, and like it was a lot. And when she got on the bus and she wasn't feeling anything, I was like, get off the bus. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, I want to watch that again.
But what?
Okay.
Well, you will.
Yeah, I will.
You need to. Sometimes you need a good cry. I have specific movies that I only watch if I want to cry.
Yeah, like good cathartic movies.
Yeah, Fox and the Hound.
Oh, I don't think I've seen it since I was a kid.
Yeah,
I only watch for that.
Yeah, I only watch it when I want to cry. When my hamster died. Sorry. I'm laughing, not crying. When my hamster died when I was in first year, I wrote a little bit of the song Goodbye May Seem Forever on a little bit of paper and put it in her bed.
Oh, that's so sad.
I know.
You reminded me of not from exactly that point, but when Jerry left the Spice Girls.
What the fuck?
I wrote a note saying Jerry left on the so and so of so and so 1990 whatever, wrapped it up and buried it like in a little something and made a time capsule. It's somewhere still in Inverness.
That's
in like
amazing.
a garden that I don't live in anymore.
Can we get it?
I don't know where it is.
Oh,
I know the house it's at, but
yeah.
I don't even know where I
Oh my
buried
God.
it.
If you wrapped it up in if there's anything metal in it, we need to hire a metal detector.
Oh.
I want this so bad.
Yes, I know. Oh, I don't even know where to begin. Had a big garden, this place, so I was like, but yeah.
We need to go
Genius.
knock on the door and be like, "Hi, is there any chance we can look around your garden for anything that may have been dug at some point?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that was...
You made a time capsule.
It really affected me. My life kind of fell over for a bit, so yeah.
I pretended to be affected when Charlie left Busted.
Oh no.
Because at that point everybody fancied Charlie.
I never did.
Well, neither did I for obvious reasons. But I was like, I need to fancy someone. You know what I mean? So I was like, it's reasonable for me to fancy Charlie because he's not here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can fancy this faraway man.
Yeah.
That everyone else fancies and no one will suspect.
Fair.
So
enough.
I was like, yeah, I fancy Charlie. Sure thing. I love eyebrows.
Yeah. Oh, no eyebrows.
Yeah, they're so good. And then he left, and I was like, oh, I must make a show of force. So I sharpied his face out of my Busted, all of the pages of my Busted calendar and book that I had at the time.
That is some almost serial killer.
I know.
level shit.
It was just me being like, I am straight, I am. Look at how much
like frustration just pouring out onto this calendar.
Look at how much I hate this man I loved. I am straight.
I had a massive crush on James.
James? He's
I
the least
know,
crush worthy.
I found him adorable. I think I had this weird thing for like slightly shorter, cute looking guys, because at the same time I also had a big crush on Elijah Wood. So there was a definite theme there when I was growing up.
Yeah, they're very similar looking.
I know. But now my tastes have changed, but I can still see why.
You're like, I can still appreciate.
Still appreciate why whatever year-old me were was into them.
It always seemed like it was either Charlie or Matt. Those were the two.
It really was. Never James.
It was never James.
Maybe because I thought I'd have a better chance.
Maybe. Although I found that there's one in every group that people don't fancy, and call out, it's always the ginger one.
It is.
It's always the ginger one. Like, remember in Pussycat Dolls, there was like literal transphobia happening because they were like, the ginger one's a man. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
She's not.
She's not.
And also, shut up.
And same with Nicola from
Yeah,
Girls Aloud.
from Girls
Everyone's
Aloud.
like, Nicola, but
Lads, she's just ginger.
just ginger.
I'm offended.
Like, beautiful.
I'm offended.
God damn.
This is the ginger thing is such a weird one because I feel like it's always the same trend of from a certain age to a certain age being ginger is cute as hell.
Yeah.
Then from a certain age to a certain age being ginger is what you get made fun of for.
Yeah.
Then everyone's like, I envy you so much. Oh my god, your hair, your skin, your eyes.
Yeah.
And you're like, make your mind up. Do you think it's nice or do you think it's shit? I can't tell.
Or just think independently.
Yes. Or maybe just like leave it alone.
Oh my god. Well, you know, I married a ginger, so
True.
I'm in the ginger club, I guess.
I have a confession to make, which will make me sound like a terrible person.
I
get it from my mum.
Yeah.
Because she has a massive aversion to ginger men. She hates them. She thinks they're really ugly. And so I have this aversion to ginger men, and it's ridiculous because I myself am ginger, but it's literally because so when I was in da womb, she didn't know if she was having a girl or a boy. They wanted a girl, and my dad, when he was young, was ginger, but by the time she met him, his hair had like dulled to this like black. I don't know how it's happened. Whoa. I know, ridiculous, so weird. I'm so scared my hair's gonna do it, but So on the last scan, she was like hopped up on drugs, and the midwife was like, "Oh, well, they have a beautiful head of hair," and my mum was like, "What colour is it?" Because she was terrified she was going to get a ginger boy.
Oh my goodness.
Oh. So,
I mean, I do think generally that, you know, ginger girls are prettier than
well,
ginger boys. So
you know.
just putting that out there too. Sorry, all the others.
No, it's definitely just a thing I have because my mum had that thing. She was just like, "Oh, ginger boys." I was like, "Yeah, I guess I hate them too then." Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, back to the masks.
Yes.
The only point I wanted to make further than that was, number one, that man is no longer allowed to watch Disney movies, and number two, man, wear your masks. Wear them.
Masks.
It's so not difficult. Like, if you expect a surgeon to do a 10-hour like surgery in a mask, you can walk to the shops in a mask, or like walk to the shops without it on. Put it on when you get to it. You're only gonna be in the shop for 5 minutes, and put it over your nose.
Oh my god, that bugs me. Something else, to the point I actually saw someone had made the other day masks which have like a sort of photo of it going under the nose on top of the mask for comedy effect.
Oh,
I know, but it's so dumb. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
I have been so tempted to embroider, because I embroidered a mask at the beginning of it that says "Please wash your hand." It has 2 hands on it.
Yeah.
It says "Please wash your hands." This was when hand washing was the main concern,
Sure.
and we were like, "Hey everyone, you should have been doing this anyway."
Scrubbing it, yeah.
You should have been doing it anyway, but please do it now. And I'm so tempted to make one that says like it goes over your nose, but I know that if I wore it out, the amount of like just hatred I would incite upon myself, I just don't think it's worth it. Like, I've now given up customer service, thankfully, and now I don't want to have to talk to people when I don't need to.
Yeah, I know.
A statement mask would bring too much attention.
But also, actually, ringing off that, isn't mask wearing great when you just want to be like left alone and ignored, and you can just cover half your face?
And then if you put sunglasses on, your whole face is gone.
Oh, it's good.
On my way down here, I had a helmet, my sunglasses, and I've brought a mask in case I went to a shop or whatever. So I would have been completely engulfed. Another thing that is so wonderful is like if you do stop to chat to someone and like you're having a nice little conversation. Number one, very rare that you're going to get touched by some random man that you don't want to touch you, because now you can be like, illegal if you don't.
Yeah.
And number two, you don't have to smile anymore.
Yeah, you don't.
Like, someone's not going to be like, "Oh, crack a smile then, hen," because like they can't tell if you're smiling or not. You can literally just stand and nod and keep a relaxed face and not have to worry about like constantly putting on a smile. Oh, it's so good.
I have to say, because I overcompensate and I'm a people pleaser, that I smile even more now under my mask, to the point where I'm like nodding enthusiastically and being like, "That was great, thanks."
I do nod a lot. I just tell people I'm smiling. I'm like, I am smiling under the mask, whether I am or not. I've mastered the art of smizing.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
that's always actually a good skill to have, to be honest. I love a good smize.
If I do a good smize, then I can keep my mouth as dour as I want. It doesn't matter. But yeah, there are so many more pluses to a mask than there are minuses. Like what? The minus is it's kind of warm, and that's it.
Yeah, you do get. I it's annoying when it's like over your face and you get that kind of like humidity building up, and my skin always gets a bit mad. But like it's fine. Yeah. I don't care.
It's for like a little bit, and if you work, my previous job, I worked in a place where I had to wear a mask essentially all day.
Yeah.
And like it's not the best, but it's better than widespread pandemic, and it's better than lockdown. You know what I mean?
Think about that. Do you know what? Speaking of, I have to mention it because it's very important. Guess what happened to my sister?
Oh no, what happened?
She got COVID.
No. Sorry. What a terrible... I'm so sorry, what a terrible time to get something caught in my throat. Oh my god, I like
You're
choked.
evoking... She's still alive, okay, right? You're evoking something. She is fine though. She it's very, very mild for her. She's no like underlying health conditions, and she actually managed to get a test, I think, about a day.
That's good.
After she started getting symptoms. So yeah, she said for her she's feeling a lot better now, but she didn't even have a cough.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
happened with me.
Yeah.
With me and Hannah, we were unfortunately, when we thought we had it, tests were exceedingly difficult to get
Yeah.
right at the beginning. But we both got sick with the same symptoms at the same time at a time where nothing else was being spread. So it was like, well,
Mhm.
and it didn't hit the lungs.
Yeah.
So yeah, for a lot of people, it doesn't go down into the lungs. But
That's
I'm
good.
glad she's doing okay.
Yeah, she's fine. We video chatted the other day, and I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh my god, that's so dramatic!
Yeah.
Tell me everything."
What not all?
And I think it doesn't help her because she lives in a big warehouse in like Hackney area in London. So
A
there's,
warehouse.
yeah, it's like a warehouse converted into like a flat, but it means that there's about 15 people she lives with.
Oh shit.
I know, and so they're obviously having to self-isolate now
Yeah,
too.
all of them.
She's the only one who's been tested positive for it, and I think got tested.
Mhm.
So they obviously don't know if someone else gave it to her or whatnot, because she's been working from home. She's not been out much.
Oh.
So anyway, that was quite a bit of drama, and I was like, no way. So yeah, but she's doing absolutely fine. So good. Times. Yeah.
I'm glad it's not affected her too negatively.
Yeah.
I've never had the test. I get my temperature checked a lot because whenever I go to visit my mum is in a care home, then I get my temperature checked, which seems to be a nice, easy indicator. If people are getting a bit nervous because obviously a lot of talk about second waves and stuff is happening, and like statistically we're in it. I think we're at the beginning of it because essentially it takes 2 weeks for COVID symptoms to show up, and we've gone longer than 2 weeks with everybody being back outside again. So if you are nervous about it, an easy way to keep like track of for your own self is to get some sort of thermometers. The ones that are good are the ones that like zap your head. That a lot of restaurants and things are using them because then you're not contaminated by putting it in your mouth or touching yourself with it. Touching it to yourself. Oh goodness.
Hello.
Oh my goodness. And then you can keep track of your temperature and things like that. And then if you think your temperature's a bit high, that's when you can look into getting tests and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, and I think, I think like it is like a kind of, it's for me. This actually leads nicely onto our topic we will talk about, but I think in general we've all been feeling just general anxiety for so long now. It's like this low level thing, but I would like to think the people that listen to our podcast are all very bright and just sensible people.
Yeah.
I feel like that's we attract you guys, good guys.
Yeah, good guys.
Good guys.
Good guys wear masks.
Yeah. Should I tell you my bugle?
What's your breakfast bugle?
So I just wanted to bring up that apparently another picture of the Loch Ness monster has surfaced.
Oh, surfaced indeed.
It has, and I'll show you it because
I've not actually looked. I saw an article that talked about it, but the article just had like the original picture.
So this is it close up.
It's a fish.
Right?
It's just a big fish.
Look, it's just a big fish.
It's literally just a big fish.
But
however,
yeah.
What is the Loch Ness monster if not a big fish?
Well, exactly.
So
I always assumed it was a big fish.
I never did. I always assumed it was some sort of reptile.
Aww.
Like, I don't even know.
Fish reptile hybrid.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, fine.
We'll go with that.
We'll give you that.
But yeah, like everyone's like, it's just a giant.
It's literally like a trout.
Or a catfish.
Or a catfish or something, yeah.
They reckon it was about 8 feet long. I think the Loch Ness monster would have been bigger than that.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I just imagine it like just exploding out. Basically, I'm picturing that film. You know that film, Loch Ness?
I've never seen it.
Oh,
I've never seen it.
Excuse me, I got excited as well. What is it? We're coughing. Oh my god, you need to watch Loch Ness. It stars Ted Danson. If you know Ted Danson, have you seen The Good Place?
No, I keep meaning to. I know. I don't know anyone's name. Just carry on.
He's in that. So he stars him, and he's like this American scientist guy who's come over to the Highlands of Scotland to look for the Loch Ness monster, and he befriends a small ginger child.
Hey.
Classically Highland looking. They actually had auditions when I was that age for the child, but I never got to audition sometimes. So she essentially she learns is speaking to the Loch Ness monster. She's like best friends with the Loch Ness. And she shows him the secret cave that it hides in, and it's magic.
And
It exists. It's not actual magic. It actually is a thing. I just think it's magic.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I thought you meant the Loch Ness Monster was magic.
Should I give away the ending?
Well, we've already spoiled Inside Out.
Oh, that's true. Do you know what? It has the nicest ending. There isn't just one Loch Ness Monster.
Oh, shit.
There's a whole family.
Aww.
And there's a baby.
Aww.
And it grows and it carries on the tradition forever.
Oh,
Yay.
cute. Very different from, in my mind, the Loch Ness Monster is an eternal being.
Uh-huh.
An eternal lizard-fish hybrid.
Yeah.
And, like, it's, like, the size of the lake. Like,
yeah,
in
it's
my,
just lying there like a bath.
In my head, have you ever seen the episode of The Simpsons where they drain the loch and there's just, like, that's what it is in my, it's, like, in my head it is massive.
Yeah.
So like 8 foot's not big enough. It doesn't look like a fish because the fish that you just showed me there does not have a big long neck. And the whole point of Nessie is she's got that big long neck.
Yeah, that's true. There's definitely something there's definitely something in that lake which we just don't know what it fully is because it's.
Do you believe in the Loch Ness Monster?
Well, I believe there's, even if it is just a giant fish.
Okay.
I
was like, wait a minute. Do you believe in this eternal lizard monster?
Well, as a true Highlander, I have to say yes.
Okay.
But I do think it's deep enough that there's something there that's just grown exponentially, like a normal thing, but it's just huge and it just lives because it can and no one disturbs it.
To be fair, I recently, for the first time, saw a picture of a full-sized tuna fish.
Oh,
and I was like, oh, it's a monster.
They're big.
They are they're as big as I thought sharks were.
It's because we see them in these little tins.
Yeah, it's genuinely, in my head I'm like, yes, many, many, many sardines.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't expect them to be so, oh my god, I like, thinking about it now, I'm like, oh, they're so huge.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's highly likely that, like, there's a massive, massive fish in there.
Yeah.
Even my goldfish got really big when we gave it a new tank.
Oh yeah. Goldfish get massive.
And lived for like years. 2 of them, they got huge and they lived for ages.
See, it's possible.
Loch Ness Monster.
Aww.
Once was a goldfish.
If someone just was like,
be free.
Be free.
Yeah.
And now it's like this.
And it was like, I will expand to my new tank.
Yes.
Try me. As it just sort of blows up and up and up.
And it turns into some crazy anime. I don't know. I keep picturing it. Like
there is 100%. Hold on, look it up.
Okay.
There's 100% going to be an anime about the Loch Ness Monster.
Oh, excited.
There it is. Look at this.
Oh, look at him.
Yeah, an anime Loch Ness Monster.
It's like he's got this Godzilla vibe of like, towering above the lake. And is that planes trying to shoot him down?
Maybe. He is massive in this picture. Or she. Loch Ness Monster, I think, historically is a girl, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
There's a little person screaming.
Oh no.
Actually, she looks very friendly in this anime.
She does. She looks a bit sad because people are trying to shoot her down.
People try to shoot her down. She's not in the water anymore. So no wonder she's not happy.
We should post that. We'll post that.
We'll get it. Yeah, we'll get you a picture of it. What are your thoughts on other mythical beings? Is that what we call them? What do you call them?
Mythical creatures?
Yeah, maybe, I guess. Like Bigfoot and things like... Do you have any other...
I mean, I feel like it depends where you live in the world. When it's something that you've grown up with, for me, Loch Ness Monster, you obviously know all about it. I can't say I'm like particularly like believe in Bigfoot.
Yeah, I don't see that.
I just think there's a dude that's decided to go off grid and he's just living
quite
in the
possibly.
woods.
I think you're right. I think it's like wherever you're from, there's always something.
Yeah.
Like for me, when I was a kid, there was a swimming pool in my area, and the swimming pool had this like, it looked like a big underwater cage, but it was literally just where the water would drain out into. But because the water was being pulled out that way, it made this like noise under the water. Yeah. And we used to always dare each other to like hold the cage bars and look in, because 100,000,000% there's a shark in there. 100%. And to this day, if you said to me like, go into Bubbles, which was the name of the pool, go into Bubbles and look in that cage, I would be racked with fear.
Oh, you bet.
Even though there's for sure not a shark in there, but except there probably also might be a shark in there.
I just think of It and the
oh no,
sewer
don't.
drain.
You know what? I've never actually seen either of the It movies. I never will.
I saw the original one when I was in primary school, and it was
why?
a sleepover, and my friend had sneaked out a VHS recorded copy of it, and we watched it, and oh my god, I can't. I've never seen it since because it really gives me sweats.
Yeah, it would. It's, even just when I see when I see clips from it, or when I see still images of it, or literally when anyone ever is like, "Hi Georgie" at me, I'm like, I don't want to engage in this. I'm fine.
But when you think about it, you're like, oh, it's just Tim Curry.
Hey, it's just Tim Curry.
He's amazing. I love him. This reminds me of. Have you heard of the Catman of Paisley?
No.
Oh,
no.
Oh,
the Catman of Paisley.
Prepare to get a little bit anxious.
I have. Oh no.
Sorry, not Paisley. Greenock. There's a big difference.
I have heard of there was a cipher. That's what they're called. A cipher. Oh no, have you found it? Hello, editing Cara here. It's not a cipher. It's a cryptid. So just pretend I got it right the first time. Okay, bye.
So, okay, I'll give you a bit of context first. There is, in a way, a part of me is like this. There's definitely a sad side of this, but there's also this. People thought it was like an urban legend. It seemed to go around the west coast of Scotland that there was some weird catman in Greenock, and he would just like stalk around, and he kind of like lived on the streets and just like ate rats, you know. And we were like, yeah,
no,
careful,
I don't know.
You know, and people were like, you careful walking back at night for the Catman of Greenock. But it turned out it was a real man.
No.
And I'll show you the picture.
Oh, no.
I'll let you scroll through that.
Oh, what? Why? Wait, this is a real thing?
Yeah, this is a real guy in Greenock. And this is why I was a bit scared actually saying it, because it's clear there's a lot of really bad mental health going on here. And I'm also aware that laughing at that isn't great, but it's more like the fact that it's creepy, and the pictures are creepy, and it gives me anxiety.
It's the fact that like one of the many ciphers of the world actually was a real thing. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, imagine, like, that's the thing though of when you're talking about these, I think they are called ciphers. Maybe I'm saying the wrong word, but yeah, like urban legends and things like that. Like, every urban legend I've ever heard, I'm always like, but it's not real. Will be the follow up, but it's not real. And literally hearing one that's like the Catman of blah blah, I'm like, I can rest easy knowing that that's not real. Except it is real. It's a real thing, real. And that's terrifying.
I know.
I heard about one that was it was called a stink ape.
Okay.
And it was basically, I can't remember, it's somewhere in America, somewhere nearby LA. Okay. It might actually be LA. It's like the stink ape of LA or something like that. It's got many names. The stink ape is one of them. And it's basically just it's like a smelly ape essentially. But what they think this one was real as well, because essentially in Hollywood, in the sort of golden years of Hollywood, they would have a lot of animals brought to Hollywood to film with, and a lot of them would end up just being loosed. They'd be like, off they go. Apparently LA used to have a really big monkey problem.
That's so funny. It's like Jumanji.
Yeah, right? So apparently when people were like, the stink ape, it literally would have just been like a monkey or ape or something that was just like, well, I live here now, I guess, and obviously wouldn't have smelled great.
No.
And so the stink ape.
Poor ape.
But apparently they had more than, it was like loads of different types of animals that were just like being loosed.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's that in London. There's like a whole like flock of parrots.
Really?
Yeah, for real, because someone one day, their pet escaped or they let it go, and there's a certain area of London now where you'll actually quite often see parrots flying overhead.
Wow, that's so cool. Right? I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so
oh man,
that seems to happen quite often.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, it's the same as like how now there's possums in New Zealand. because there was never possums in New Zealand before, and then someone came and was like, I brought my possum, and they were like, no. Then
we always do this.
It was the same as well with the town I lived in Tekapo was overrun with rabbits.
Oh,
and it was literally because like British people, when they went over to do what they do best and colonise,
yeah.
they were like, I miss things from home, let's bring over some rabbits. And then rabbits did what they do, and now the whole island is overrun with rabbits.
Dear God.
Yeah.
What have we done?
I know. They're everywhere. Did you know there's no native mammals to New Zealand? It's all native birds. Whoa. Which is why they don't like mammals so much, because now all the birds are getting eaten by all these mammals.
I didn't... wow, that's a really cool fact.
Well, you're welcome.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Oh, that's really bad. Oh, anyway, sorry, I could go on forever about sort of like grey squirrels as well, but...
Yeah, I know, grey squirrels and red squirrels. They used to have red squirrels at the Botanics and they're gone now.
I know. I saw a grey squirrel this morning in the garden. I mean, I like squirrels, they're cute, but it also saddens me that they've decimated the other squirrel.
Yeah, it does suck. But I guess in some way it's evolution, or...
I know, it's...
Darwinism. But, anyway, shall we move along to our weekly waffle?
Our weekly waffle.
We've made we've alluded to what the weekly waffle is this week, but it is anxiety.
Oh yes.
Just in general.
General anxiety.
Yeah, what a time to be an anxious person.
Yeah.
I feel like even if you're not an anxious person, this time will make you anxious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I try and sort of think about back just before we went to lockdown, and there was definitely like I had dips and like sort of highs and lows, but generally it's been a sort of steady underlie of anxiety. But I've had anxiety, like diagnosed anxiety, for years and years and years. But when I was in my early 20s, I was diagnosed with depression. But I had anxiety at that time as well, but it was never diagnosed. It happens a lot. And you kind of, it took a while to realise they're two separate things. Yeah. So, yeah.
With anxiety, it's like, it's such a difficult one because I think a lot of the time people think, especially when you're young like that, when you're in your early 20s or your late teens, people often think it's like just your awkward teen self or awkward self. It's like, oh, you don't like making phone calls, it's just because you're awkward, or you don't like doing this. And it's like, no, I break out into hives.
I know.
And I'm trying, but I can't. You know what I mean?
Isn't it the weirdest feeling? Like, I hate it because, you know, it's like that people that maybe don't understand are like, I don't get it. Why are you being difficult or being weird? And you don't want to be difficult. And I always try so hard to override it, but by then the damage kind of is already
totally
done.
Sometimes it's just that's just it. Like I always tell this story when I talk about anxiety. You've heard this story before, but it's one of my funnier anxious moments. But basically, there was a type of crisp that I really like. Like a packet of crisps that I really like. Chips for our American listeners. And I hadn't found them in years, and then I just happened to be going past a corner shop that was nearby me, and I was like, oh my god, they have these crisps. So I would go in every now and again to get them, and they were like 2 for 50p, so I'd buy 4 for £1 and then just like eat them through the week or whatever. And after a while of going there, this creeping thought entered my brain of like, one day the cashier is going to be like, you really like these crisps, and it's going to be really awkward for you. And every time I went in, I couldn't shake this like, it's going to be today. And it built up this anxious thing in my mind where every time I went in, I was like trying so hard to not incite conversation just in case that day was the day. And then one day it happened, finally. And it's a totally normal thing to say. If I worked in that shop, I would probably say that to someone. Yeah. It's totally normal, but because I built it up in my head, I put the crisps down and he was like, you really like these crisps, don't you? And I was like, ha, yeah. And then like, as I went to give him my money, my like hand started shaking and I was like trying to put the crisps in my bag. I ran round the corner, had a panic attack, immediately went onto Amazon and bought myself like a multi-pack box of the crisps so that I never had to go back into that shop again.
Like, I'm never leaving the house again.
Yeah.
This is me.
I'm not going to go past it. I'm not going to go in it. I've got the crisps in my house and that's me. I'm fine now. And yeah, that was all just anxiety.
Yeah, I get really major social anxiety. So there's been many occasions, but better now, but where I'm that person that cancels last minute when we try and make a plan, because I can't. It's like I kind of build it up in my head to be far too of an intense thing, or I start to get worried about, I don't want to, this is so stupid, but I think, what if I walk into the pub and it's really busy, I can't see anyone, and then as I'm trying to find the people I know, I trip and I fall, and everyone sees me and laughs.
Oh no!
And like, that's how it spirals.
It's like a bad dream. It's like you've concocted this bad dream scenario. What if I go in and I look down, I'm not wearing any trousers?
Yeah, or I have a big rip up my like seam where my butt is. Like, honestly, and it really messed me up for ages, where I just felt I couldn't go out, and to the point now where I still, if I'm going to meet someone, I will arrive like at least 15 minutes early, so I can at least get the seat first and be the one waiting for them. I'm
always early, but I've only recently managed to do the going in myself part. Yeah. So I used to arrive early and then wait outside. Yeah. And like, so another fear I have, another anxious thing I have is, what if we go and there's no seats? Yeah. Because that will, in my mind, going and then there's no seats will lead to us standing on the street trying to decide where to go next, and it will lead to this long conversation of no one making any decisions, and like me just getting like more anxious, and I will just turn around and go home. Yes. Yeah, I notice the shift in me when my anxiety levels get too much and I become actually really crabby. Like I kind of shut down and I don't speak I get really quiet, and then I just get to the point where I can't socialize, I can't smile, I can't do anything. I'm just like blank. Yeah, I start looking at my phone. Yeah, it's like breakdown. I'll do it sometimes. I will have had a lovely night. Yeah. I'll have like one friend round or whatever, and I'm doing fine. Yeah. But like my like social energy is just like dipping now. I'm like, it's time for you to leave, but I don't want to say that out loud. And the way that I know it's coming to that is I start to just check my phone for no reason. And that's me like tapping out a little bit. Sometimes I will just check my phone just because. Sometimes I just check my phone because I need to check my phone. But like sometimes I'll take my phone out and then I'll just like quickly look at Instagram or something. And I don't know, I think it's like me tapping out. Typically I'll do it. I do it more if Hannah's there. Yeah. Because I'm like, oh, it's kind of like there's a buffer. I don't do it on purpose, but I feel like there's a buffer. But then I realise it and then I'm like, oh, I need to put my phone away. Yeah. But then I'm like, I wasn't in the conversation and things went quiet and okay, now I need to, oh Lord. I know, I have to like smile and nod a lot and be like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah. I have no idea what you just said. I'm trying really hard to get to a place where I can be like, and now you must leave. You like, if someone's in my house, it is time for you to go. It is. But it's tough because I live like a little bit away from everybody, so if they come round, it's almost like coming to my house means that you've committed to like a chunk of time. Sure. Can't just come around for an hour. You know what I mean? Or I can't kick you out after an hour, essentially. Yes. Oh man. No, I get it. I really get it. I get quite I sort of, every time I'm anxious, I actually forget that I'm anxious, and it's not till I come out of it again, I'm like, oh yeah, shit, I was really like bad, and I didn't realize how bad it got. And so like if it's like a long bout of anxiety that lasts, I don't know, like a week or something, where it's quite intense that whole time, and I kind of, my sleep goes, that's actually a big thing I notice, is my sleep gets like really erratic. Like I wake up all the time, or I can't fall asleep, and then I notice like my heart's sort of racing a lot, and it's just like, it's like I have that adrenaline in my throat and I keep trying to swallow and I can't swallow properly, and it's like I've just had a fright and I can't come off it, and it's like a week-long feeling of that. But like every time you're like, what is this, and then afterwards you're like, oh, it was the thing it is every time, it was anxiety. And like in my head I'm like, I can't distinguish it. I'm like, oh, I'll never feel right again, this is just what normal is now. Oh no. And then every time it like calms down, I'm like, okay, oh no, this is normal. I get that every single month. There's like a little bit of every month, a little snippet of every month where I'm like, I'm so moody. Yeah. and I'm so agitated and annoyed. Everything's annoying me, and I'm sighing and huffing about everything. And I'm like, God, what's wrong? I'm like, maybe my life is just not good. Maybe I'm bad.
Yeah.
And then like a couple of days later, I'm like, oh, it's my period.
Yes.
Every single month.
Me too.
And every month, I swear, like I've come up with this, like, you know how when women give birth, afterwards, after the birthing is over, they get so pumped full of endorphins from their body, which are designed to make the woman forget how sore childbirth was, so that she'll do it again. I think that, like, in some way, the same thing happens surrounding your period. Because every time it's over, I'm like, yes! Yeah. And then the next month, I, like, forget that that's why I'm grumpy for this.
No.
Disclaimer to people out there, women, men, whoever, everyone in between, if a woman is grumpy, it might not be that she's because of her period. Don't jump to that. If someone, even if it is that for me, if you jump to that, I will deny it.
Oh my God, totally.
So, like, you know, don't take this as if someone's grumpy, it's definitely that sort of disclaimer. But for me, at a certain time, it probably is that.
Yeah, it is. It's complex, that kind of side of things, because I'm the same as you. Like, you know, for a while, like, Christian would joke around and be like, oh, you know, is it that time of the month?
Yeah,
kind of thing. Like, not in a sort of, like, completely, like, crazy, horrible, like, you know, whatever way, but he would sort of mention it, and I would be like, no, I can have feelings out with my hormones, and, you know, like, it's like, and the feelings you're feeling are legitimate.
Yeah, they're still there.
Feelings. But now I have, like, a period tracker.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Because I would do the exact same thing where I would just not know why I was going crazy every month, and I was just like, my life is spiraling, what's happening? And then it would obviously turn out and I'm like, oh, doughy.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it's funny because my hormones are so powerful that I, like, drag other women into my cycles. Like, whenever, you probably noticed this when we worked together, everybody synced up, and everybody synced up to me.
Oh really?
Yeah, everyone was like, oh, I'm a bit late or a bit early, and then it was because I was gathering everyone.
You were like gravitational, like the moon,
the
sun, and you're like pulling everybody around you. Jeez.
Yeah, I have very strong hormones. Hannah's experiencing that right now, where, like, we're now syncing up, and I'm, like, forcing her out of her normal schedule to sync up with me, because my hormones are just like, I am the alpha. Damn. I will be followed. But the problem is, mine isn't regular. Mine is late every month by a couple days.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm just, like, making Hannah's go out of control just for, like just for fun, I guess.
Isn't that weird?
It is weird.
Oh man.
But yeah, that feeling of I don't know what's wrong with me. Oh, actually, it's anxiety. Is one that I have all the time. Like, anxiety and stress. Like, I'll be like, God, why am I not hungry? Why am I not sleeping? Why don't I want to go outside? Why am I sad all the time? And then I'm just like, God, I must just be the worst. And then it's like, or you're having an episode.
Or it's all, it's like, I had to go on a course to, I had, like, a pretty traumatic point in my life about 3 years ago. And it actually kind of...
Hello, me again. Just a small disclaimer for the next section coming up. We do talk about depression and suicidal thoughts and feelings. So if you feel like you're not in a place where you can listen to that stuff, just skip forward to 53 minutes and 30 seconds and we'll be finished talking about it.
Blew up this kind of PTSD, for real, like diagnosed PTSD, to the point where I was basically like, I ended up going to, like, the hospital at, like, it was pretty much really late at night. I think it was like midnight-ish, because I just I didn't want to go. This is the thing, I was so anxious and so, like, in denial. I was like, there's nothing wrong with me, this is just who I am. I am a terrible person. I am just crazy or something. And then it was actually Christian, bless him, really early on in our relationship, and he was like, no, you need to go chat to someone, and I did, and the whole experience wasn't a nice feeling to go there, and it was exhausting, and hospitals aren't the nicest place to sit in and wait,
and mental health wise they're just not very well equipped.
But the good thing is they were the first team of people that sat me down chatted through just some of like my history, chatted through how I was feeling, because I was feeling suicidal. And they were the first people to actually say, you're not actually wanting to die. You don't want to commit suicide. You're just feeling this overwhelmingness through the PTSD, through the trauma, and that trauma basically makes you feel like there's nowhere to go but that. Like it's like you have no other kind of, you don't want to die, but you just can't
You've got no other
see
avenues.
where else to go. And they really broke it down to really normal, really kind of like, this is what's happening to you, this is why. And they put me on this really great course. I think it was like an 8-week course about managing your trauma. And they touched on everything from like depression and anxiety through to like intrusive thoughts, through to the physical side of it, through to all this stuff, and like dealing with kind of negative things from your past. It wasn't like they were changing you, they just were educating. And it was so insightful, and it really was the first time I could look at what I was feeling and normalize it and say it's not because of me and my personality, it's just purely the set of circumstances, and no wonder I'm reacting this way to them. And that was a really like big moment for me to get me on the right track of like caring for my mind better and
that's
stuff.
great.
So I highly, if you're in that state, I really do, there is a way, there's always a way. And I would say books are also really good, but if you can find that kind of course where you're meeting and you have to sort of, even if it's through Zoom, you have to interact with it and learn, I think that's really good, because you it was so nice to meet people who were similar, going through experiencing similar stuff to me, and we were all in the same room, and we would talk about, you know, they would write stuff up on the board of how we'd feel, and we're like, oh, it's actually really common, and everyone here is actually feeling this. And because in those moments you're like, it's just me, I'm going crazy,
I'm alone. I'm
alone. And that was really lovely to know that you're never ever alone.
You're never alone.
Things.
There's always people out there who, like, I had an episode once where I ended up taking, well, I didn't take myself to the hospital, I took myself to the police. Because I just needed anyone to take account of me. I was like, I need an authority, I need some sort of authoritative figure to stop me, essentially, at the time. And it ended up, after days of back and forth, going to the hospital and people being unhelpful and whatnot, and there was one nurse who held me accountable, and that was what I needed in that moment. She like, you know, asked me all the questions she had to ask me, and then she was like, if you leave, she was like, so if you leave you have to tell me, because she said to me, there's another place you can go where you'll get seen much, much faster, but if you leave you have to go there, you can't just leave and leave. And she was like, and if you leave you have to tell me. She was like, if I call your name and you're not out there, I'll call the police. And I was like, oh. And she was like, and I have all your details and I've written down what you look like. And I was like, oh my god. And she was like, and if you leave to go to this other place you have to tell me, and blah blah blah. And I was like, okay. So I went to my friend who'd take me to the hospital, and I was like, there's this other place, I think I'm going to go there, I just have to go and tell the nurse. I went to tell the nurse, and she looked at me and she went, are you actually going to go there? And I was like, yeah, I am. And she was like, hold on. And she like left and came back 5 minutes later. She was like, right, I've called them. She was like, if you're not there in an hour, I'm calling the police.
Oh wow.
And it was amazing. It was amazing because all of a sudden there was accountability. I had to help myself, because a lot of the time the issue is when you're in that place you don't want to help yourself, like what you said. Christian had to get you to go there. And so a lot of the time it's like you don't want to help yourself, you don't see the value in it, but other people, even strangers, see the value in you. You know what I mean? And that was really nice for me in that moment. Something that I struggle with a lot when it comes to anxiety is the impossible task.
Okay,
That's one that I get, and I've only recently found out that it's like, again, thought I was alone in it, thought it was just me. Turns out it's a real thing. I'll explain it just briefly in case someone hasn't heard of it. Essentially, it's a thing that is normally totally fine and easy to do, and it's probably just a standard daily thing, but for some reason right now you just can't do it. Maybe it's walking to the post office, or maybe it's like having a shower for some people. Self-care in any way sometimes can feel impossible. Maybe it's like going to the corner shop. For me, that's an impossible task now. It can be literally anything, and it can come from nothing. Like, you can do it one day and it's fine and nothing traumatic happens, and then the next day you're like, I will never ever do this task again. And that was a one for me, that finding out that it had a name was really helpful.
Having that, just having that is, again, it's all about that normalization, and it's so good that the nurse was able to sort of it in a way. You need something to snap you out of your mind in that moment and almost bring you to the physical present, and like you're able to, like, if you're able to be in that present moment, even if it's just like by breathing consciously for I don't know, like 30 seconds a minute, like there's something about, like, I know when I'm in my, Christian lovingly says, in my own arse, but it is that kind of thing where it's like my mind has taken over and I just cannot see what is actually happening around me, if that makes sense. And it's a really interesting one and a weird one, and I really hope that, you know, anyone who's struggling with these things, I don't want to sound patronizing, because, like, you know, it's really hard when you're in it, but you can always find something to help yourself, but it is ideal if there's someone there who actually can, like, point you in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. You can't, like, self-help is definitely a thing. And some people, like, reaching out to others is an impossible task.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it was for a long time. Even talking to people about it was an impossible task. But, like, if you can see past it, even to talk to someone anonymously, it can be really, really helpful. And there's way more resources out there than you think there are. Sometimes you have to grin and bear through some things first. Like, for me, it was having to go to loads of different hospitals. I had to go to a GP practice, I had to go to a hospital, to another hospital, to this other place. It was about the 6th person I spoke to finally offered me help, and, like, that was hard, but thankfully I had my flatmate with me that day, and that made it much easier. And when I got the help was great. It's just getting the strength to slog through that other bit first. And obviously this is quite a heavier topic than we would normally bring up on the podcast, and I think we've gotten to a much more solemn place with it than we normally would. Normally we're quite jovial.
Yes.
But it's just such a time for people to be anxious. I feel like everyone I speak to right now has at least one conversation with me when I see them that is based on anxiety, whether they know it or not, based on the anxiety of the state of the world, or the fact that they have to go to work when it is clearly not necessary right now and also not good for us right now. So yeah, it's just important to bring this stuff up and sort of check in with each other and check in and like do a sort of check in of you guys in the way that maybe you're listening to this and you're relating to some of this stuff, or you're thinking like, oh, I've been there, or I am there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't mind at all if someone was like, oh, I want to know more, or got in touch, or something, like, you know, depending on where you live in the world, there's obviously different services and things, and I know for one, I was very, very skeptical of these services when I was like, I didn't have any sort of real help, I guess, and I was very like, I didn't want to take any, say, I do take antidepressants now, but for ages I didn't take them because in my head I thought that they would make me numb and I wouldn't feel anything, and there is a case that sometimes that happens, but it is actually about finding the right one for you, and
there's so many different ones. Different doses, like, you know, kiss a couple frogs and all that.
And you know, again, I know that feeling when you're like, when you try one thing and it doesn't work and all you want to do is say, well, fuck it, nothing works. It's somehow learning to build that resilience of like, keep trying, because there is the right combination of things for you, but you will have to have a few more disappointments where they don't work. But if you have supportive people around you that at least you can sort of mention that to, that really would help, wouldn't it? So. And
if you don't have supportive people around you right now, get in touch. We'll be them.
Or we can for that.
Or we can point you in the direction of some. You know, like, a lot of the time, sometimes the reason you get to that place is because you feel like there isn't anyone. And even if right now for you there isn't anyone, there can be in the next 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, breakfastfoodpodcast@gmail.com. That's us. Or whatever. And so
say hi.
there is no real alone in this if you are feeling like you're struggling.
Yeah.
And it's all confidential and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I on a slightly different note, it's not relating to like when you have anxiety, but I have found some wondrous images, and I wonder how you feel about them if I show them to you.
Go for it. Are the images to induce anxiety?
Maybe.
Oh God. Maybe.
I found some cursed images for you.
Okay.
How do you feel about this?
I feel really bad about it. It's I'm really bad about it. It's a little boy in a bed and he's got Teletubbies around him, but the Teletubbies have really big eyes, and it's just terrible.
They're like handmade Teletubby costumes with sort of black, sort of like
circular
dead eyes, and there's nothing there, and he looks very well. I mean, he's not. There's no reaction going on there with him.
It's the fact they've got those big eyes and these big long smiles.
Oh, how do you feel about this one?
No, what is it? What the fuck? Someone has taken... actually, so before I move on to my story, someone has taken a koala teddy bear, gutted the insides out, and then cut a mouth and eye holes in the stomach, not even in the head of it, in the stomach of it, and are sipping a little drink through it. Did I tell you it was during the locked downest part of lockdown?
Okay.
And I went to the park with Hannah, and there was a woman going door to door with this teddy bear head that she'd gutted out.
Oh my God, I think you mentioned this.
Yeah, she'd forced out the eyes and the mouth of it, and I guess just moved the stuffing to the side and put it on her head, and was like going to people's doors and being like da da, just like giving them sweets and dancing for them and whatnot. And I was like, I know this is a gesture of goodwill, but I'm scared.
But look at yourself in the mirror.
But I'm terrified. Why have you done this?
Did you ever have any weird like fears as a child that you think is still part of you today? Like, how stereotype is like a clown,
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm even speaking about it makes me want to like rip my teeth out my face. This is a fear I have to this day. I don't know if it's like a phobia or whatever, and it's the feeling of it that makes me feel gross. I'm literally like clamming up over here. The fear I have is of biting a towel.
Oh, yes. Oh, no, that really, I feel it.
Yeah. Oh, you can feel it drying your teeth out.
Oh, that's squeaking, sort of like, oh, I hate it.
I'm like biting down on my...
cursed me.
I'm sorry. That's what you get for showing me those pictures. I'm like biting down on my tongue to try and
drink
like...
some water.
Yeah. That one has been one that has been with me my whole life. I've never liked that. And I don't think that will ever leave. I've never been scared of clowns. I'm trying to think what kind of fears did I have as a child. I had this dream once of, in Pinocchio, that like the fox.
Yes.
The like fox who tries to take Pinocchio away. There's a fox and a cat.
Yeah.
And they're wearing the...
Is this when they drag him to the donkey place?
Yeah, take him to the donkey place.
Okay, yeah.
So the cat, the little sidekick cat, and Dracula were chasing me in this dream.
Uh-oh.
And it was the first dream where I like couldn't run. When you're trying to run, you can't.
Yeah.
It was the first dream where that happened. And I remember looking back and they were running and I was like trying to run and then looking back again and they were like at me, like the like classic Dracula over you kind of pose. And I like freaked out and woke up and like, it was a big old bad dream. And that was the start of me realising I'm not going fast enough in my dreams. So now when it happens, this is kind of disturbing, so brace yourselves. Now when I realise I'm not going fast enough in my dream, I will like go down to the ground and claw myself forward. Like I will grab the ground with my nails, like dig into the dirt and like drag myself forward in my dreams because I'm like, I can't get caught by Dracula again.
No. Oh, gross.
No, sorry, you asked.
I know, it's good. I used to have a reoccurring dream as a child. It was a bit weird. I kept dreaming that I got shot in the back. And then I would wake up every single time. And this would happen like recently, often, like every like couple of months or
Wow.
so, and I could feel the exact bit on my back. I still, when I feel it, it really like sends this like weird shiver up my spine. And like one time, the only two I really remember now is one time it was like Victorian alleyway like vibe, sort of like early 1900 vibe, and I was running down it and it was like wet and someone shoots me and I die, and then I wake up. And another one was I was in space, I was an astronaut.
Wow.
And something shot me, I don't know if it was an alien or not.
With a phaser gun.
And so and I would sometimes wake up and it was like the most visually graphic thing for me as a child, because I would somehow be able to see myself at the same time and see the wound, and it was like gross and like big and just freaky. And yeah, it was like something about being shot in the back and then waking up. So maybe past life was coming through there, you know. Not that I believe in past life really, but there was definitely like a weird connection.
Yeah, that is strange. I remember there's like the old adage of like, if you die in a dream, you die in real, like you always, like if you fall off a cliff or something, you'll always wake up before you hit the ground.
Yeah.
And I remember in my dream one time I fell off of like a play area thing, like a jungle gym or something, I think you call it.
Yeah.
And I hit the ground in my dream, and I remember even in my dream being like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, and then waking up and being like, whoa, I hit the ground, how weird. But I didn't die, unless this is all, the rest of my life has just been the final moments.
Maybe. I remember falling off a very, very steep cliff once in a dream, but I had that in my mind of if I fall to the ground, I will die. And I managed to like lucid dream and fly.
Cool.
And sort of get away and soar, swoop above. Yay.
Cool.
I know.
I had a dream actually just the other day where I woke up from sleep in my dream and then realised I was still dreaming. And then woke up again and then realised I was still dreaming. And it happened about 3 times, to the point that when I woke up in reality, I was like, right, is this the one? Am I finally at the top of the Russian nesting doll of dreams that I've just had? So weird.
You were doing Inception.
I was doing an Inception.
You were doing the Inception.
Yeah, really weird. Dreams are weird. Is there any childhood fears that inform you as an adult?
The only one I can think of is when I was quite small, I'd say 3-4 years old. I was on a bouncy castle, and there was some older kids on it, and they fell, like about 4 older boys, and they fell on top of me and squished me.
Oh no.
And I couldn't breathe, and I was terrified, and ever since then, if I feel like someone's either putting too much pressure on me or they cover my face with like, you know, even just like a blanket over my face, after a while I start to get that feeling like I'm trapped, and I panic and I like lash around because I somehow feel like I'm gonna
weird. That must have been scary.
Yeah, it was horrible.
One time I was in this, like, I think there was a place in Edinburgh, I think it was called like Jelly Beans. It had beans in it for sure. Fun. It had beans in the name. And it was like a big blow up play area. The whole area was this blow up thing. And I was like jumping through it, having a great time. And at one point I fell directly between 2 blow up things on my side. I don't know how I did it. But I was trapped in there and people were just jumping over me. And I was like, help! But people were just jumping over me until my gran finally came looking for me. She was like, what the fuck? And I was just like, grandmama, please. I'd just been trapped in there for like half an hour.
Oh no. God, those were good times. I actually really loved the soft play area.
Soft play areas are incredible. I used to go to this club on Saturdays called The Saturday Club.
Oh.
And it was actually a sort of a weird one. You would be split into, the whole group would be split into 2. Half of you would spend the first half in this play area, and the other half of you would spend the first half doing like circuit training, essentially. We were children, like,
you were at boot camp.
Yeah, literally. You would go do like sit-ups for a bit, push-ups for a bit, punch things for a bit. I don't even know. Then everyone would come together and they would do a big blow-up bouncy castle and face painting.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Do you think it was like a sort of psychological experiment to make you excited for like
maybe
exercise?
It did make me really competitive about getting a 6-pack, because at the time the boys were always going up to Jed, the man that did it and being like, look, and like flexing their stomachs at him. And like little boys always have six packs. Have you ever noticed that? Just because they play so much and it's so easy for men to get six packs. Because of the way their bodies are built, whatever. Anyway, so they all had six packs, and I was like, I want one. And I went up to Jed and I was like, what about mine? And he was like, well, you don't really have a six pack. Like, I had like the faintest line in the middle. Yes. And he was like, you've almost got a middle line though. And I was like, I will achieve this middle line. And I started doing sit-ups all the time. All the time. And then at one point, and this lasted way longer than the soft play days, right up into high school. If I was like having trouble sleeping, I would do sit-ups on the floor until I couldn't sit up anymore, and I would like exhaust myself. Yeah. And so in the early high school, you would not know it looking at me now, but in early high school I had like a sharply defined 4-pack, like sharp defined. Damn. And I never managed to get the 6-pack because for women the muscles right at the bottom of your stomach are really hard to tone up. Yeah. Because of many reasons. Yeah. But the way your hips sit and the way that your uterus is and blah blah blah. But I never ever managed to get the 6-pack I was dreaming of, but I did get a defined 4-pack.
That's something. I don't think I've ever had any defined pack of anything. Yeah, even when I was a good old wee gymnast, I don't remember. But maybe I just wasn't paying much attention to it. I was just like flipping about.
Yeah, I was like, I will. Though there was something I used to do. Whenever the bouncy castle was being deflated, I would crawl inside the like tube. You know how like a castle has like turrets? Yeah. I would crawl inside the turreted tube as the air was sort of leaking out of it. And I would close my eyes and I'd be like, this is my cocoon, and when I come out of it, I will have wings. Oh. And every week I'd be like, this time. This is the one. This time, for sure I can feel it. And then I'd go out and still not have any wings.
That actually does give me anxiety.
Oh my god.
Being stuck in the middle of a bouncy castle deflating.
Well, I had a zip, and I would zip myself up and be like, here I go.
I would get the fear that someone would stand on me. They wouldn't realise I was there.
I mean, I feel like I was very lucky to never incite anything like that.
Jed's
just being
over.
Like, Jed's just like rolling it up, and I'm like, no, Jed, no.
That's horrible.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's good. I'm fully face to face with this fear.
You got it. You can.
I got it. I'm fine.
Shall we move on to serving suggestions?
Yes.
We always forget. Annabel. I have one.
You have one. Okay, you should share your sharing.
It's It's a weird one. It's a weird one because it's just a weird game, but me and Hannah have only just started playing it, and she's never played it before, and it's very fun. Okay. Do you remember slaps?
Like as in your
yeah. So we play it like you put your hands together and then you touch your fingertips to each other, and then like someone tries to slap the other hand, and you need to try and move your hands out the way to not get slapped, right? Yeah. Turns out she's never played it before. She knows of it, but she's never played it before. She says that because she has siblings and I don't, so I was like, how have you never played this before? But she said she played the game instead where you put a circle in your fingers, and if someone looked at it, you punched them.
Oh, it wasn't just that you put it.
No, it was not a sexual. No, it was like if you look at it, you know, like the OK symbol. Yeah. You punch them in the arm.
Punch them. Okay.
But so we were waiting to see my mum, and I was like, let's play slaps. And so we played slaps, and it was all well and good because I was the slapper. Okay. Then I forgot how anxious I get being the slappee. You know what I mean? It is. Oh my god, I forgot how vocal I get. So I basically, I was like, oh, your turn, okay. I put my hands to her hands and was like, like kept just screaming. And then when she actually did slap me, I was like, wah!
Yeah, it's like, I used to get a fear of electric shocks when I was a kid.
They are scary.
Yeah, and for some reason, an older person that should have had more responsibility than this would give us those batteries and be like, lick it.
What the hell?
And you get a wee electric shock.
What the fuck?
So I was a bit scared of them.
Yeah.
And after a while, I just point blank refused to lick a battery. So
well, that's fair. I was licking a battery literally a couple months ago because I forgot that it was a thing that would cause a problem. I'm notorious for like touching things, putting things in my mouth. Just like me and Hannah are recently come to the not realization, but we're starting to question. I possibly might have ADHD.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to the doctor about it at some point. But anyway, it means I'm a very big fidgeter.
Yeah.
Whether I do have it or not, I'm a very big fidgeter. So if I have something in my hands long enough, it probably will end up in my mouth.
Sure.
And I must have just been holding this battery, and I was just like putting it in my mouth, and I was like, why does this feel so weird? Oh, it's a battery. Shit.
Oh, why have I suddenly got superpowers?
Yeah.
The battery.
Why can I suddenly see in the dark?
Why am I seeing into the future? Oh my god.
Yeah, very strange. But yeah, slap. I guess to make it not just slaps, play some games that don't require anything else with someone.
Yeah.
Like slaps is a good one if you don't want to have like if you don't need things. Also, I used to do with my friends when people watch it, we would like give them voices and like. We'd like dub over their conversations with other conversations. That was good too.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you have a serving suggestion.
No.
My serving suggestion for this week.
You can do it.
Is open up a dictionary and flick to a page and learn one word every
Annabelle.
week.
Oh no.
I honestly, I'm trying to think of something really nice I've done this week, but I've just been focused at my computer.
It's been a busy week for you this week. It's probably understandable that you've not got anything specifically happy to express.
Oh, I have one.
Okay.
No, but we talked about it last week.
No, remind me, what was it?
It's spreading Nutella on bananas.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that one. I was actually in the shop yesterday and I saw a bunch of bananas and I was like, what was it she was spreading on that again? And in my head I was going over all the spreads. I was like, peanut, Nutella, was it?
Yeah.
I was like trying to remember which one it was. In the end I never bought the bananas because I couldn't figure it out. I bought some apples instead.
That's very
And now
good.
I'm realising it's peanut butter on apples, Nutella on banana. Apparently it's amazing.
Interesting. I can see that working actually. Yeah, because I feel peanut butter and banana is too much claggy. Like I know Nutella is, but it gives you a wee hit of like the chocolate.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could cope with that.
Peanut butter and then banana once it gets all mashed up in your mouth, it would be like texture nightmare.
Yeah. Claggy, that's actually a really good word
if you look it up in your dictionary, kids.
If you look it up in your dictionary, if you're not from Scotland, look it up. Claggy.
Oh, speaking of words, I think unfortunately we are going to put our word game to rest because I underestimated how quickly it was going to be difficult to do. But if anyone was wondering about the 6 sharks from last week,
I am, because I can't even find a thing to like hook onto.
It's not the only thing to hook onto is 6.
Like a dozen.
6 and a half a dozen.
6 and a half a dozen.
That's what it was. I literally only translated it into 2 different languages and all of a sudden it was 6 sharks.
6 sharks.
And I was like, I don't know how this happened.
Well, so if you could use that in a sentence.
6 sharks.
Like, oh well, that's 6 sharks.
I guess that's 6, yeah. 6 sharks. I may have told this I can never remember what I've said in the podcast and why I haven't, but I had this person I went to college with and the first time she ever tried to say 6 and a half a dozen to me, she went, well, 6 and 10 eggs.
Ooh.
And I was like, what? She was like, 6 and 10 eggs. I was like, wait. Do you mean 6 and a half a dozen? She was like, oh, is that what it is? I was like, what? Where does the 10 eggs come from? Where did even the eggs come from?
Wow. 6 and 10 eggs.
6 and 10 eggs is what she thought.
I've heard one too. Oh no, that's going to annoy me now. There's a Cumbrian version of it. 6 of one, half a dozen of... Nope.
Can't find it.
It probably was nothing. But let's find one fun Cumbrian piece of dialect. Cumbrian number. Yan is 1.
Wow.
Yan, tan, tethera, methera. Pimp. Pimp is 5.
What? What's going on here? This isn't Scots. What is this?
This is Cumbrian. This is north of England.
Oh, I forget about England.
Yeah, whatever.
I always forget about England. I forget that people say things in England.
There's also 15 is bumfit. So, good times. There you go.
Good times had by all.
Thanks very much, bye.
And on that note, goodbye. Before we go, I need to do the kids' rate jokes, at least 1 or 2 of them. I just love them so much. Why did the tiger throw up on the couch?
I don't know.
He was sick.
Oh.
Right? It's just so cute. What room in a house does a stormtrooper not go in?
I don't know.
The office. Obviously.
What?
Oh my god, this one. Oh my god, it's so cute. Why did the hedgehog need a friend?
I don't know.
We all do sometimes.
I do.
Oh.
I have one as well because I retweeted it. Why was the pig upside down?
I don't know.
He was not doing so good.
Oh. These are all just really cute. What
Thanks,
is...
kids.
Oh my god, okay. This one has some capitals in it, so I'm going to have to shout, knock knock.
Who's there?
A bear.
A bear who?
A bear that brought a ladder to climb up on your roof and fix your house and steal your bees.
That kid has anxiety.
That kid's currently feeling really anxious about bears.
Yeah, something's gonna happen to him on a nice walk in the park.
And the way he's expressing it is through jokes, like many of us.
It is, yes, we do. We laugh because we have to.
Yeah. And on that note,
Yeah,
bye. Enjoy your breakfast.
Bye.